Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Andrew Gable, and I'm doing a live video tonight from my painting studio, and I just was wanting to update everybody on what I've been working with. So in the last videos, I was kind of doing a recap of work that I've done over, the last decade. It was a decade of art, and I was going through a lot of my old works, a lot of my old drawings. And so tonight I wanted to go through brand new work. What have I been doing the last couple weeks? And that's kind of like a specific point for me also, is that I find when I'm not creating art, I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to post anything. I really don't like posting old work. So going through my old artwork is interesting as it is, and I do like to look at, my past work and just reflect on it. There's some part of me that's just I need to do new work. I want to do new stuff. So I am going to show some new work right now and what I've been working on, but it's kind of like the catch-22 because, I don't know how many artists are like this or how many people are like this, but I'm somewhat if I'm working on something, it's I don't want to show anybody. So I have to work on it kind of on my own, and then only after I sort of have it complete, I can reveal it to the world. It's almost like a fear of it kind of, if I show somebody, something's going to happen to it or I'm going to lose the idea. It's you kind of it's you're just sort of forming this concept and it's almost fragile and you don't want to show anybody, but it's strange because that's, sometimes that work, the stuff you're doing right now is the stuff you're most interested in and most excited about. So that's what I'm going to be showing tonight, and I'm going to be starting with this piece right here. So this is kind of where this new thread that I've been working on began. I was working on some portraits a couple weeks ago, and then from the portraits I went back to, or forward to, working on something that was a little more free-flowing, and I wanted to do sort of an abstract kind of piece with a figure, and so that's what we have here. And I would kind of want to get close to it, but I don't know. I don't want to move my camera. But anyways, it's, I like working with the abstract stuff because it's fun. I can really sort of find a corner and really sit there and work on the piece. So that's what this one is. Hey Jack, how you doing? Hey Christina. Oh, got some hearty face. Great. So anyways, working on this piece. And then after I kind of worked on it, I was I kind of want to do just a pure abstract piece. So I don't know what else to really say about this one. I'm kind of thinking of calling it a window to the soul. Initially, my idea was I just saw this person sitting at the water's edge just reflecting, and that's something that it's kind of does art reflect life or does life reflect art? That whole conversation, because with this piece it was I had gone into my studio, I was making some work, but I was wondering, what am I doing? What direction am I going here? Do I like this? What is this? What does it mean? And just all the thoughts that run through an artist's brain when they're creating new work or trying to find something that they're satisfied with. So this was kind of how I was feeling. I was kind of just sitting there, and I had a lot going on, and I was just taking my time and sorting through it, and so that's what came out of that whole experience. And I finished this probably 2 weeks ago or last week or something. So then I'm going to move on to where I went after this. Have this just hanging here. These are still wet. Okay. So from there, I wanted to do just what I call, tell us about the foot in the water. Oh. That question is referring to the painting I just had up. You know, why is the guy's foot in the water? For one thing, I like it as a visual element because it's like, I find I've done that before with different artworks where you kind of, the idea of a foot entering into the water, it creates, it's like a nice relationship to create the illusion of physical space. Anytime you have something like going underwater and you can kind of see it underwater, I just wanted to include that as a point of helping define the space. And I also like the connection with the earth. So anytime, you know, the figures in the painting, in the environment, but I like them to interact with the environment. And so here you have it, right? So the foot is in the water, and obviously, I mean, maybe it's not obvious, but water is like purification, right? So, you know, that connection with earth, with water, kind of helps ground a person. So that's sort of the story behind the foot in the water, with that piece. And maybe there's more, and maybe someone else can like. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh man, this is hard to like get that up like that. Okay. So I discovered this kind of, I guess you can call it style, probably like 10 years ago. And it was actually right before I took a break from painting. So my story is like I graduated 2004 and I went pretty hard into painting. I was painting a lot. And I painted, and eventually I painted myself out of a job, out of money, out of a relationship. I ended up like in this tiny little apartment with these paintings all around me. You know, nothing was selling. I didn't know how to sell my art, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is not what I envisioned. Like, I was pretty bent on, you know, making art my career. But I had a very specific idea of what that was supposed to look like. And honestly, I didn't know how to do it. So I just painted. That's all I knew how to do. I knew I could paint. So I just kept painting. But there's so many different things that go into it, which now as I'm getting older, I'm considering. So during that time, I started to get into this sort of area of these abstract pieces. So this is actually a landscape. Like, I see this as a landscape painting, or even better, a mindscape, because they're kind of like, they almost look like the inside of a cell or something. But honestly, they're so fun to do. Like, you can really just like scribble with your paint and like mix the paint together and find different combinations that are kind of interesting to you. So they're like very spontaneous, and I love that aspect of art. Like, I'll show you in a second here, the piece that I'm doing right now started getting a little too controlled. So basically I started following this vein of ideas relating to like the landscape or the mindscape, and I had this idea of doing these flower paintings. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. And that came from this original landscape, which after I was finished it, I was like, this thing is like hectic. Like, it's all over the place. So, that entering. Yeah, so Jack is just talking about entering a piece, you know, entering the unknown. That entering with unknown is so fun. Yeah, so it's like staring at a blank canvas, right? Like, what am I going to do? That's so exciting. And then you start doing something. You start moving your brush, or maybe you have a small idea, or maybe you have no idea, or maybe you have, I find I usually have like a theme or an idea, but it's not, I don't know. Like, I have to go into it and start painting to find it out. And so I wanted to dive into these sort of abstract pieces again, which I don't really see as abstract. They're landscapes or mindscapes. Like, you know, you can see the forms are quite defined. I still like depicting a three-dimensional space. So after this piece, I put this one back here. I started doing some flower paintings. So this is the first flower painting right here. And so I kept it gray. Like I didn't, gray as in this is green and red mixed together to make that gray. And I wanted to keep it gray just so I could more focus on the forms and not necessarily have to worry too much about the color. But the starting point or the launching point of this piece was that it's a flower painting. And so I thought it might be cool to explore that whole idea or concept. And basically it's like a jumping off point. I like the abstract nature. So they're kind of like sci-fi flower paintings or something like that. So, yeah, this one, I'm not done. I mean, I might be done. My wife says she really likes this one, but I think I might change the background to like a different color. It's not quite landing the way I want, but at the same time, my wife says she likes it. So what am I going to do? Hi, Maya. Maya joined. So anyways, so yeah, it was, parts worked, like some stuff worked in this piece and other parts didn't. So I was like, okay, let me try another one. And that's kind of how I do it. Like, I didn't want to spend too much time. I didn't want to overwork it. It kind of went to a certain point and then it's like, okay, I got to move on to something else. Okay. So then this was the next flower painting. So I see these things as like, you know, that was the initial idea, was the flowers, but, you know, they're like organic shapes and forms and, you know, they're very geometrical. There's like very hard edges and they're very architectural also, but they're super fun to do. You just like, so this one had a lot of nice areas, a lot of nice things happening. And, so the space is like, you know, sometimes it contradicts itself in some areas, which is really fun, but for the most part, there's an overall three-dimensional feel to it. But again, I kept with the gray, but I thought, okay, I wanted to do a darker background because the other one, that yellow. Yeah, this is, so with this one, I did want to add more color with it. And I was slowly going there with the color, and I think I could probably go maybe a little quicker to color, and I tend to stay in the grays. But so I added some yellow, and this is almost like a pure yellow to really sort of, I don't know, it really comes alive in that area. So I started sort of bringing some yellow through into it, and I really liked the combination of having more of the saturated color. So, but that's just it, right? Like, I think for me, it's like I have to remember that I have to create the paintings in order to find that stuff. Like, I can't think of it ahead of time, or imagine it ahead of time. I have to actually do the paintings, and that's sort of like an adjustment I constantly make and have to like reinforce for myself. Just keep doing the art because that's how you find out what you're doing and you learn and develop the techniques. So these ones have been fun. I think this is my favorite one. And these paintings will likely all get up on my websites eventually, but they're still wet. I think this one was yesterday. And so I have like a pair for this one, which is a similar color combination. And again, it's just exploring some different forms, and it kind of reminded me of like Star Trek or something. I don't know, but I think of them as flowers, and you know, I think that to me that makes it interesting, and it sort of creates a reality where I can get in there and I can like create organic forms, and it sort of just creates the right environment for me to like play around in and create these paintings. But anyways, can we do that? It's a nice little set right there. I liked it. So, yeah, so psyched with that, with the way these are going. But I just got to keep testing it out, because sometimes I get on the trail, you know, it's like you pick up the scent, and you got to it's like you just got to keep tracking and keep going and keep, you know. And so that's kind of fun, but sometimes it takes a little bit of motivation to get there. Like, it's like easy to fall off the track sometimes. So this is where I'm at today, and let's see here. Okay, so there's this one. So this one is like, it's fascinating actually, because this one is super geometrical, and at the very last thing I did today was I started changing the triangle into a leaf, because it became too controlled. Like some of these can be very expressive, but this one was like, yeah. So this one I started out in the purple zone, right, with these guys, and I added the yellow, and now I'm moving slowly towards like the reds and the oranges and the yellows. So basically I'm going from, you know, the purple went into the yellow, now I'm moving more into the orange and bringing in some orange colors. So it's like I am following a theme also with the color. I'm not like jumping from, you know, red to blue, like stark differences. Not that red and blue is a big jump, but I have found I'm like following a color, like a gradual color transition as I move from painting to painting. And but this one, when I started painting it, it was very controlled. Like there wasn't that much. The forms were basically, I just drew the forms in right away, and it was like there they were, and then I just started filling in the color, and so it was a really interesting process. But I did get a little bit, like I did kind of feel like I needed to open it up and break it open a little bit. So I ended up changing. This used to be a triangle, and the last thing I did today was I basically just started changing it into a leaf, and I think that's going to bring in some more organic forms. And anyways, that's where I am with these paintings. So that's it. I just wanted to sort of go over what I was working with this last week, having tons of fun with these paintings, and yeah, hopefully I can do some updates coming soon. And anyways, thanks everyone for stopping in, and yeah, definitely check out my website and see what work I've got up there. These are all going to be up there eventually. AndrewGableArt.com. Yeah, thanks for joining everybody. I'll see you guys next time.